Morning, Sean. Hi, Patricia. So I usually host the office hours over Zoom. For those of you who are on Instagram Live and you're wondering why I'm on live, I'm just going to give you a little bit behind the scenes of what it's like to be a participant of office hours. So it's very open-ended, 1 hour, any question that folks have around just the employment process. Most of the time we spend looking for jobs. So those of you who are Instagram watching, just know that the questions I'm going to be looking at are those here in my laptop because they're attending office hours. And if I see your questions, I'll get to it. But just so that you know, this is more of a sneak peek of office hours. So welcome everyone to office hours. Angelique, Cynthia, Maya, Megan, Nicole, Patricia, Sean, Shruti, Yuko. Yay! What a strong group. Welcome. So I'm just opening it up now for questions. Does anyone have any? Hi, Megan. Yes, feel free to connect. I forgot. Thank you, Megan, for reminding me that you're welcome to network during masterclass office hours. This is very open-ended. Everyone on here, just so you all are aware, are a part of the masterclass. So you're all actively studying the material, the framework, how to apply it to yourself, how to use the information, how to leverage sort of other people's success stories as well. As you know, the new masterclass update even has hired cases where you can really like hear how people are studying for interview prep, and you can even hear how they're managing to their emotional sort of turmoil and struggles and imposter syndrome that pops up and how I help them through that. So it is a place where here at office hours people are plugged in. And then if you haven't met with me one-on-one, you make sure you do that. It is available to you. It was sent to your email as far as when you want to meet with me. If you can't find a time, let me know. Some people save that 30 minutes check-in for a time that they need. Cool, no problem. It is guaranteed whenever you need it. Okay, I see there's some chats already. Hi, Angelique. Yeah, so it's your first time. Great, welcome. Yes, people need to share their profile. Wonderful. Okay, questions. I'm open to questions. We got more folks joining. Wonderful. Or if people want to give an update, maybe you don't have a specific question, but you want to give an update to the group as far as how it's going. I know some of you have been actively interviewing, whatever you feel comfortable. You go. Yes.
Hello, I can give an update and ask a question. So sadly, like none of the jobs that I was interviewing for panned out, so I'm kind of back to the start. And it was, a job was gonna be like 7 rounds, so I'm glad that I got dropped off at the third round, not the fifth round.
Wow.
Yeah,
You go. Okay. Okay. I'm
yeah. So I'm like,
sorry.
well, it's
Ready?
not the worst thing, but I think now I'm like. I applied to 2 jobs last week, and then both of them like very quickly got back to me that they're not going to proceed with me. And I'm like, okay, should I change my strategy of applying? So that's kind of where I
Were
am
they the
because,
same type of job that rejected you?
yeah, it's a healthcare analyst type of job that require like strong coding and SQL background and
Oh,
after coding background, but then I don't have SQL, so
then that's
I'm
why.
learning right now. But yeah, it's like
Then that's why.
hard.
I would have told you not to apply.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I have almost everything except for SQL. And
They preferred, required, desired.
yeah, it's definitely one of the things that they want.
Yeah, and they
Um,
hold some of them hold strong on that. I mean, with that said though, Yuko, sometimes it says like must be trained or must be willing to learn upon hire. Like I've seen that for like Power BI, or Python or R. Like there are certain software that I've seen the employers are a little forgiving, but you have to state that you're willing to learn and how you're ready for that already, right?
right,
But SQL is definitely its own world, like it's its own thing. So just be mindful of that. Like if that's your track or not, and if it's not, you just don't apply. Like that's what they're filtering through. So
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I think because I was a data scientist before, like I have lots of other coding skills, so
Okay.
I'm trying to learn with Coursera and trying to like write my code and publish it on GitHub so they can at least see I'm learning SQL. But like, should I go there or should I just apply to do jobs that I already like qualify for? Because doing the skill building and application, it's like a lot at the same time. Like,
Lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. I appreciate the question. I think I think that's why in a lot of ways I hold firm on you have enough to get a job. Like I never ask anyone that you should go do this now in order to get a job, right? So I still hold very firm that like you don't have to go learn something new today to land a job tomorrow. I think it is going back to your instinct of like, oops, maybe this isn't the right track for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it could be how you're searching them, how you're finding them. Maybe you're misinterpreting the work. Because sometimes this is why the preferred, required, desired is so important. Because a lot of times I even use that for my mentees. One line, we're out. Like if there's one line where between she or he and I can't find a case to make how you have that experience, we just don't waste our time on it. So
Okay.
it's really like, I think of someone who yesterday she felt like, oh, I can't meet program management requirement. And she totally skipped and didn't see that it said like multimedia. It said something like multimedia experience too. And she's like, oh, well, that won't matter. But I don't think I have the program management experience. I'm like, it all matters. And number one, you do have the program management experience. And number two, let's talk about what you consider to be as multimedia. What does that mean? Like, I think sometimes we don't take the time to slow down and be like, wait, does that mean online and versus print? Does that mean social media and websites? Does that mean presentations, right? Versus webinars, right? Like webinars, what does that mean? And you can make a case for it, right? So you just have to slow down. And so, but then there's other things where like they just, either you know SAS or you don't, right?
Right. Yeah. I think I'm wondering because
Yeah.
I think we're a lot of people told me like apply if you meet like 80% of the requirements. But if that 20% is there non-negotiable and I don't have it, then I don't apply. That's what you're kind of saying.
This is where people get confused because there are other coaches that I find repeat what I say, which is this is the formula, is that you need to meet almost 100% of the required, desired, preferred, the bottom. It's the 60 to 80% that you have to meet for the functions, the duties, the bullets. So people confuse like, oh, you just have to meet 80% of the qualifications. What do you mean by that? I say meet the bottom, like 100% as much as like literally 100%. You're experiencing that already. And if you're not able to convince yourself that you meet that 100%, you won't convince them. It's the bullet points you guys don't have. I tell my mentees lately, like, oh, just map about 50 to 60% of the bullets. Like, don't worry about the duties, functions, responsibilities. If you have that summary locked and loaded with what they have at the bottom, right? You meet all of it and you can make the case. You put it that at the top. The rest is extra. It's like, great, pull her in. So I think when people say just loosely, like, oh, you only need to meet 80% of the job, it's like there's different sections that I'm weighing. And this is in relation again to public health, right? To public health. Other industries don't know. Don't know. And I
So
think that's
that's like
a struggle.
required, definitely meet 100%. What about preferred? That's like,
That's it. That's the same. Preferred, required, desired.
so preferred means we also need to meet 100% if
Yeah, and I understand that sometimes the jobs break it down into like three categories, two categories, like they go on and on, but like you have to try to meet the highest always and not just stop there, but like if they have a minimum requirement, you also cite minimum. You have to cite preferred, you have to cite required, you have to cite, and I say preferred, required, desired because that's how they all say it differently. Like I've seen it, I know you guys see it two-sided all differently, but it all to them is the same, like equivalence. I don't know if you're categorizing one as higher than the other. No, they're all the same. Even if they themselves break it up, so they might, even one company might say minimum requirements, required requirements, desirable requirements. It all matters. It all has to be caught in your summary. Does that make sense, Hugo?
Yeah, that's helpful. I think that would make me eliminate a certain industry altogether,
Yes.
which is a little bit hard because I'm already having a hard time finding the jobs that I
And what
want.
industry are you looking in? What industry is that?
I like the healthcare analytics type of thing. Like I don't meet 100% of their requirement because I don't come from that. Like they usually ask a few years of experience working with in the healthcare setting, and I've only worked in research setting, so I
Oh, so
don't.
that tends
Yeah.
to be your, like the way they probably filter you out is that they don't see any managed care, healthcare in there, right? The, en-
Yeah.
the environment. So with your research, have you partnered with any healthcare hospital health plans?
Yeah, I have partnered with like federally qualified healthcare. Um, we worked for
FHC, good.
healthcare
Okay.
benefit program before, but
Do you cite that enough?
I do cite all of them. But I feel like when they say you need 3 years of working in healthcare setting, like I don't really meet that with like one or two of my projects being with healthcare partners. I
So
feel like.
what I'm sort of trying to encourage you is I hear you when you say that they want you to be in that environment already, but if like I want to know like have you done on-site visits? Like have you walked in these clinics? Have you been in the waiting room? Like how or has it been mostly virtual?
Mostly virtual, at least for my most recent job. But I also worked for healthcare services organization and their like community benefit program. So I was in the building, but not exactly in a clinic, if that makes sense.
So do you see how you may have already been in that environment?
Yeah, I think I was definitely in the healthcare research space, but not really like analyzing claims data and things like that. That
Right, right. So here's just two notes. Number one, make sure that you're citing how you're close to that environment they want you to be in. So if they say must have X years in healthcare, you can say have X years partnering with healthcare organizations, including, right, community benefit. You can cite stuff like that. So I think
hmm
I'm just trying to give you permission to just make it clear that like you're familiar or you've worked next to doctors, right? Oh, I've collaborated with medical professionals. Something that says I know this world, I know clinics, FQHCs, that kind of information. The other thing that I'm sensing is that you still qualify for healthcare, but you're somehow stuck in a track that you can't get out of. Because when I look at healthcare jobs, I'm able to see jobs that are sort of SQL heavy, billing, coding heavy, but then
hmm
there's these like process improvement, quality control, other type
Okay.
where sure, it could be around utilization trends and they want someone who's already done that. Sometimes they're cited as population health.
hmm
Have you seen those?
Yeah, yeah.
So population health could also be still a term for you,
hmm
um, especially because those folks, they want people who are comfortable with data,
Right.
right? But they don't need someone to then do billing coding information. It's a different, you're looking at, demographics versus, age groups versus zip codes versus reach versus projections versus. So I'm just giving you a little bit of hope that maybe it's just how you're finding them, searching them, and you're not weeding out the wrong ones enough.
Right. I think that makes sense. And LinkedIn keeps like sending me these jobs because I
Yeah,
think I've
you have to
used them
stop.
before. I'm kind of stuck in my loop. But I get what you're saying that these
Yeah,
claims analyst type of job aren't
not
for me.
it.
But then
That's
the
not it.
population health, community benefit, I've done it before. Like that's kind of what I need to focus on.
Yeah, there's hope, you go. I think it is part of the search. Yeah. Good
Thanks so much.
questions. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, Cynthia, you have a question. Yes. Hi.
Hi, Zoila.
Hi.
So
How are you?
I'm okay.
Good.
I'm trying to hang in there with
Oh,
all the things happening in California.
yes.
Um,
Yes.
um, So you just mentioned when the postings that you are gonna be putting up that were from 2 weeks ago, are those still considered valid? Because I know that our criteria is to apply should be 7 days from posting.
I recommend 7 days. Yeah, I recommend 7 days. I mean, at the end of the day, I also use job alerts to sort of help you guys be aware of certain companies, right? Certain opportunities, so they may not still be around, but maybe the company is a new one you haven't heard of. So I've been running into a lot of that. Given the nature of the work moving so much, I am realizing, God, I would say the last like 3 jobs that I wanted my mentees to apply to were companies I had never heard of. So I feel like that's also my goal is to educate on this is who's out still, hiring us. Even though obviously I want you guys to apply to it. It could still be fine. Some of my mentees really love something, like apply to it. But it's more of the bad habit you have to get out of, Cynthia. As long as you're aware of the habit, then you're fine. I don't want you guys to be like looking and applying for jobs 30 days old, thinking like you still have a shot when it gets smaller and smaller. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Good question.
And then second question
Huh.
is speaking on, I suppose, technical skills, but I guess I'm gonna give kind of the example going off of Yugo's situation, where if you've previously have used a skill, and I'm just gonna say Epic, but it's no, say you get out of Epic and you go into research or you go into policy, and you want to go back into healthcare later on. And it's going to ask you if you've done Epic, if you've done SQL, if you've done SAS, whatever. Is that still considered a skill? I mean, yeah, sure, you've touched upon it. And then how would that be framed? I'm giving you this example because I came from the business world and I actually used to use SQL and I used to do Access and SAS and all those things. But when I'm applying to jobs, I don't I definitely don't see myself doing data analytics because right nowadays they're using Tableau and Power BI. Um, that's not what I used to do. I don't have Power BI because that's relatively new. But I have used SQL. So am I considered proficient in it? Like, how is that going to be framed?
Yeah, I that's a great question. I think if you have previous experience from something, I mean, I know my mentees similar with Epic where they forget
Yeah.
they like
So,
forget.
right.
I know, I get it. It's not that you weren't trying to hold on to that skill like, oh yeah, I did touch health records. Oh yeah, I did train someone on that. Oh, so you could say you're familiar with something. Proficient is different versus familiar.
Right.
So if you feel comfortable with that, not people use knowledgeable in, don't feel comfortable with that, say you're familiar with, right? But sometimes they themselves will say must be expert in,
Right.
right? Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they say must be knowledgeable of. Okay. So sometimes it's still, and then again, sometimes they say must be willing to be trained. So, but I also don't want you to put yourself in a place that you don't want to be in. Right. So it's like, well, I didn't really care for SQL. I don't, and I don't want to compete for those jobs. Then don't. I think you have to be honest with yourself. If it's a skill you want to tap back into, which I have a conversation with my mentees all the time about, like, oh, you used to do that. Do you want to pursue that again? Like, do you want to do more on-site visits like you did five years ago? Right? Things like that. So I don't want to say that it's not worth citing. I think you just have to be honest with yourself if that's a place you want to go back into, and then just cite it accordingly. Proficient, knowledgeable, familiar.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right. Because some of these skills, the hard skills, tech skills are
right,
based on a lot of just practice. And if you
right.
haven't practiced it, then how do you state it kind of in the summary or in your work if it's
Right.
not current, like something you're doing technical assistance with at the moment.
Right. And again, to Yuko's question, just be mindful if you find yourself in a loop where you're seeing too much of that, right? Like, because at the end of the day, I don't see, it's not like I'll see SQL, but I see other stuff too, right? SAS and SPSS and Stata and, ArcGIS and like, just be mindful if LinkedIn is already assuming, oh, you want more of this? Oh, you're saving these? A save is a like. Okay, keep that in mind. When you save a job on LinkedIn, it's a like. So you're telling the algorithm more of this, more of this, more of this. So stop liking those if you feel like I don't want more of these LinkedIn. And then if you see something else, right, you like that one, even if you don't apply it. I think some of you are saving them. Like I get it, you're trying to stay organized, but sometimes the saves are just so LinkedIn knows you. It's not that you're necessarily going to apply to that one, but it's like, oh, I liked parts of this. Oh, this is a new company I want to know more about. Save it. Just save it. And then that way LinkedIn is like, oh, you want more of that? You like that? Okay. Okay. So just be mindful how LinkedIn is using you, if that makes sense. How you're feeding into your algorithm. Um, just be careful. This is all great. Yes.